this is Gage from Gundabad Smith, and today I'm going to be bringing you guys yet another Third Age Reforged online multiplayer battle replay. This one is a was a 2 versus 2 of myself commanding the army of Umbar, and Tundra's Fox commanding an army of Gundabad, versus Modslayer 2, who is commanding an army of Lothlorien, and he's deployed up over here. And then the fourth and final player was NJP Wright, who is commanding an army of the Woodland Realms. So we have a nice Elven Alliance that is going to be trying to fight off two evil factions. Although these two evil factions, I doubt really in normal Middle-earth have really ever fought with each other, because Umbar is very, very south and Gundabad is, of course, up in the north. Now, anyway, before we get into anything else, we will go ahead and start with the army compositions, beginning with my own. Now, I have one unit of Castamir's Rangers, a nice archer unit, which isn't bad. I mean, it's a lightly armored archer unit, which means that they can be outskirmished quite easily, but they do have greater damage than the heavy archers. I have 2 units of crossbow corsairs. Now, these guys are very, very deadly. Well, they're crossbows and they have like a crazy amount of damage. However, they are very, very lightly armored. Like, one volley from an archer of the Elves will take out like half of this entire unit, so you have to be very, very careful with them. But if you use them correctly, they can do a great deal of damage to pretty much any unit, especially the heavily armored ones. Now, I have 4 units of Corsair Warriors. 1 is here, and then my other 3 are in this middle line. They, despite their kind of underwhelming and weak-looking appearance, they actually are not bad at medium-tier infantry. They're about 550 florins, 12 attack, 25 defense, so not too bad. Especially paired with these Belagir halberds, it is actually a very nice combo because of the AP of the halberds. Just with the sword, with the sword and shield of these Corsair warriors, actually works quite well in a front line. Now I also have 3 units of Belagir halberds. They look very, very cool in my opinion. I am a fan of the dark gray and burgundy armor that Umbar, has for a lot of their mid to high tier units. Now, in addition to this, I have 2 units of Abrazenim Narduturik, a nice sword and shield unit. I believe they have a couple of hit points, effectiveness against armor because of their maces rather than a sword. Yeah, one's over there, one's down here, right here, over here. Also have 2 units of Castamir's Chosen, a very elite sword and shield unit for Umbar. Also have 1 unit of Abrazenim Narduzagar, a very heavy 2-handed shock infantry unit for Umbar. However, they are very, very slow, actually, I noticed. They're probably the slowest unit by far out of all of my army. Then I also have 1 unit of Corsairs, which is just a throwaway trash unit. You know, they're only 150 florins, not very high attack or defense values, but they are pretty quick, and they actually are not bad if you give them support. Trash, when given support, actually can do a fairly decent. I also have 1 unit of Corsair Blackguards, which is, of course, a javelin unit. And they also are not to be underestimated in melee because they have 2 swords rather than like a sword and shield, so they can actually do quite a lot of damage. And then for my cavalry force, I have 2 units of merchants and 1 unit of warlords of Umbar, which is where my general is. And I must say, I really do like the look of the warlords of Umbar. I think they look very, very cool. However, they are the only unit that Umbar has in terms of cavalry besides the merchants, who are, you know, they're okay, I guess, but their main issue, the merchants, is that they have a very low morale because they are, of course, just mercenaries in terms of speaking. Anyway, and then my ally, Tundra's Fox, has 5 units of Orc Marauders all in this formation. They are pretty cheap. You know, they will lose a lot of troops fighting against pretty much anything. However, they do have effectiveness against armor, which, if you support them, actually can make them very good in a frontline situation. And behind them, he has 1 unit of Witch Realm Hammer Guard, which look very cool as always with their huge hammers. 1 unit of Witch Realm Blackguard, which is where his general is, which is a nice sword and shield elite unit that Gundabad has. He also has 1 unit of Trolls of Gundabad back there, as you can see. And then he also has 3 units of Black Urks of the Mountain, which are a nice shock infantry unit that Gundabad has. And then he also has 2 units of Guardians of Karndum, which I must say, Gundabad has always been my favorite evil faction. Probably mostly just because of the fact that I really like how all of their armor, for the most part, is just straight up jet black. It's not as trashy looking as most of the other Orc factions. Then he also has 2 units of a Gundabad Guard, which in 0.86 they were actually really terrible, but now they actually are definitely worth bringing. They're a nice spear unit that Gundabad can field, they can definitely hold a line. Then also he has 1 unit of Black Uruk Warband, which is, I guess, was probably just another like throwaway unit that he just had extra money for. And I believe he also has a unit of Snaga Stalkers, but he has absolutely 0 archers, which is often the case with Gundabad. Well, not 0 archers, but the only archer unit they can actually field that's worth bringing is 1 unit of Numenor and Shadow Bows. So whenever you're playing Gundabad, most of the time you always have a rush build, otherwise you will be absolutely shot to pieces, especially by Elven factions. Now, the first army of the Elves being commanded by NJP Wright, I already said that, and he has 2 units of Elder Royal Guard, who are not to be underestimated in melee. They can absolutely shred through anything in melee with their 2-handed axes. 1 unit of Hiri Bang, 5 units of Forest Wardens, so a nice, they're a nice light infantry spear unit. Not the best against the heavier units that the orcs can field, but they will actually be able to do fairly decently against those orc marauders and such. He also has 2 units of Here and Experiment, which are the elite variant of the Forest Wardens pretty much. 1 unit of Hiri Dearth, 1 unit of Elder Council, which are a javelin unit, but once they're out of javelins, they pull out a spear and shield. 1 unit of Elder Palace Guard, which is where his general is, and I believe he has 2 units of Sindar Blade Masters hidden around here as well. Oh, and he also has 2 units of Elder Pathfinders, which you can see, I believe they are hiding in the trees somewhere. No? I don't know. I don't know exactly where he placed them, but I do know that he has them because they do cause Gundabad a bit of trouble. Oh, actually, I forgot to mention that Gundabad also has 1 unit of Bolg's Champions, as well as a unit of, what are they called? Temple Inquisitors? No, that's for Mordor. But, you know, the Sword and Shield, or the cavalry unit of the Patron Blackguard is his other cavalry unit that Gundabad is bringing. Now, we will go on to the last army composition, which is that of Modslayer 2, who is commanding the Lothlorien Elves. Now, he has 2 units of Sylvan Heavy Swordsmen, a nice shock infantry unit, 3 units of Sylvan Heavy Spearmen. He has 2 units of Sylvan Silver Spears, a nice mid-tier spear unit. They can definitely hold their own in a front line. 3 units of Sylvan Axemen, which are very good because they are AP, which will be very effective against my heavily armored army. He also has 2 units of Mounted Galadrim Company and 1 unit of Galadrim Veteran Raiders, which are the quite possibly the best bow cav in the game. He also has 3 units of Sindar Blade Masters. 1 of them is where his general is, and that is actually all for his only archer unit is this Galadrim Veteran Riders unit. And so, without any further ado, we will go ahead and start the battle. Now, straight off, Modslayer 2 will actually retreat some of his forces back here to his ally, which actually does allow me to put my skirmishers up on this hill, which is what I was trying to do. However, because the crossbows have very limited range, I did actually have to take them off of the hill fairly quickly, which was rather unfortunate. So yeah, the elves are definitely taking up a defensive position. Over here, though, you can see that Gundabad is starting to march forward with his Black Uruk Warband and his Gundabad Guard, and just pretty much, oh yeah, and also his 2 units of Guardians of Khardoum. However, you can see that the Black Uruk Warband are beginning to be shot at by some of the Woodland Realm archers. However, they are stopping now because they do realize it's not really worth it to fire at such a cheap unit. However, these Hiri Bang look like they are going to fire at these Orc Marauders and Snaga Stalkers. Oh, he has 2 units of Snaga Stalkers, okay. But yeah, the main thing that I wanted to take care of right away was the Elven Cavalry, well, the Lothlorien Cavalry, because their cavalry is actually very, very deadly in pretty much all situations. They're very fast, and they are absolutely devastating off of a charge. And Modslayer 2 actually does a very effective job of using these Galadrim Mounted Company to cover the retreat of his forces, getting a nice couple charges off on some of my cheaper units like the Corsair Warriors. Over here, though, oh yeah, there's all 3 units of his Sindar Blade Masters. Over here, though, I believe the Elder Pathfinders may emerge soon. I know they go after. I actually don't know where they are. Interesting. But I do know that they come into the battle a little later. You can also see back there the Trolls of Gundabad are starting to move forward. Ah, here they are. There are his 2 units of Elder Pathfinders doing a Ooh, nice charge straight into these Gundabad Guard. However, because they are spearmen, you can see that they did not take pretty much any casualties at all, just a couple, I believe. And you can see back here that the Black Orc Warband are probably ready to wrap around if they have to, as well as the Guardians of Karn Doom. So, and Mr. Wright is going to pull his Pathfinders out of there before they are surrounded. You can see right here, though, the Black Orc Warband are lurking in the forest as these Stalkers are just waiting for more of their troops to arrive. You can see over here, though, the one unit of Galadriel Mountain Company are charging full-on straight into these Stalkers and Orc Marauders who are in loose formation, and that will be an absolutely devastating charge. You can see that that unit has taken some casualties, but that's because I was using my own archers and crossbows to fire at them. No, it hasn't happened yet, because there is a big charge that happens on my infantry right here by those Galadriel Mounted Company. You can see he's pulling back the rest of his infantry to kind of square off almost like a 90-degree angle with this Woodland Realms army. Yeah, you can see right here a lot of dead Orc Marauders and Snaga Stalkers. However, luckily for my ally Tundra's Fox, they are both very cheap units, and it's not too terrible if they do get cav charged. As well as shot by arrows, because, you know, it is wasting the somewhat limited ammunition of the heavy archers for the Woodland Realms. Ooh, that's going to be a good charge, though, right into the backs of these Orc Marauders. Ooh, yeah. Very good charge by Modslayer, too. You can see that I'm beginning to reform my lines. You can see my skirmishers all up on this hill, protected by a unit of Belagir halberds. Over here, you can also see that there has been quite a bit of fighting amongst the cavalry. You can see that Tundra's Fox is bringing forward his Witch Realm Inquisitors as well as his Bolg's Champions to hopefully get into melee with these Elder Pathfinders, because the Witch Realm Inquisitors and Bolg's Champions will be able to do very well against these Elder Pathfinders. You can see over here, though, Tundra's Fox is also moving up the rest of his Orc Marauders on this flank. And it looks like the Gundabad Guard were trying to chase down these Elder Pathfinders, but unfortunately for them, this unit is going to get charged straight into the back by this unit of Sindar Blade Masters from NJP Wright. And because they're facing the wrong way, they are in shield wall, but because they're facing the wrong way, they will take quite a lot of casualties from this. However, because of the presence of these Black Orc Warband and the a unit of Orc Marauders, they will be able to completely surround these Sindar Blade Masters, which will lead to them being cut down relatively quickly, as you can see there. They were at like 78, and they're all the way down to 48. And over here you can see that Tundra's Fox is trying to flank completely around with the main force of his army. You can see 2 units of Guardians of Karn Doom, both in shield wall, charging headlong into these Elder Pathfinders. And you can see the Elder Pathfinder just a devastating charge into those Black Orc Warband and Orc Marauders. Yeah, and NJP Wright is trying to save his Sindar Blade Master, so he is sending over a unit of Hiri Dirith and, you know, these Elder Council. Okay, over here, though, you can see that I am beginning to charge forward pretty much everything. You can see that there was a pretty deadly cav fight right here. I was trying to take care of these Galadriel Mounted Company, but the merchants will be cut down almost immediately by the Galadriel Mounted Company. However, you can see this unit is all the way down to 8, so I am bringing forward my Warlords of Umbar to help out my merchants. You can see that there was a deadly charge right here into my poor Corsair warriors, who are already down to 34 from a headlong charge. Yes, and you can see over here that these Sylvan Silver Spears are helping out their Galadriel Mountain Company. You can see I'm bringing forward these Casimir's Chosen, and over here you can see my Narduturik fighting against these Sylvan Axemen. I'm also bringing around these Corsair Warriors and Casimir's Chosen to kind of flank around. Now, for whatever reason, this battle kind of had some awkward battle lines, to be completely honest with you. Oh, look at this. Yeah, so it looks like NJP Wright's the entirety of his cav force has been pretty much decimated, because this unit has been completely surrounded and destroyed. You can see by the Witch Realm Inquisitors and Bolg's Champions, combined with the Gundabad Guard. And, well, no, the other unit is still fairly healthy. Okay, you can see a very smart move right here by NJP Wright. He's going to try to throw javelins straight into the backs. Ooh, yep, right into the backs of those Guardians of Karn Doom, who will take horrendous casualties from that, which is very unfortunate because it is a very expensive, very good unit that Gundabad can field. So it is very unfortunate for Tundra's Fox to lose them in that way. However, you can see his 3 units of Black Orcs of the Mountain beginning to march through this hole. I believe one of them will go after these Elder Council, and the rest will fight in this main battle line against the Forest Wardens. You can see 2 units of Forest Wardens are being pulled back because there's not really too much of a threat in terms of the main fight. Just a couple of units of Orc Marauders. You can also see the Woodland Hammer Guard going to fight against these Forest Wardens, and the Forest Wardens will be absolutely just decimated by that unit of Woodland Hammer Guard, to be honest with you. The Woodland Black Guard look to be going after, yeah, some more Forest Wardens along with these Black Orcs of the Mountain. So you can see it's, oh yeah, and the Trolls are also helping fight against these last few Sindar Blade Masters. So you can see that it's kind of forming some weird battle lines. Like, there's fighting right here, there's fighting over here, there's even fighting right here. It's just kind of like an awkward situation in terms of the battle lines for all the players involved. Over here, though, you can see that the battle line has been completely set up so far. You can see the Sylvan Heavy Spearmen fighting hard against my Belagir Halberds, Corsairs, Ebrazanim Narduzagar are fighting hard against the Sylvan Axemen. And the Sylvan Axemen will fall relatively quickly, but they also will fall even faster due to the presence of these Belagir Halberds. However, there is a unit of Sylvan Heavy Spearmen right there to back them up. However, right here, you can see that there is beginning to be a hole. There is beginning to be a hole formed right here. I'm sorry, I can't speak. Oh, right here, you can see this unit of Sylvan Silver Spears, actually, we just missed it, has been getting absolutely murdered by my Corsair Blackguards. They just were javelined to death, the entire unit, basically. Yes, okay, so my... Oh. Yeah, my cavalry was actually dealt with relatively quickly. I was actually kind of put out by that. But luckily for me, the only cavalry force that is left to Lothlorien are these Galadrim veteran riders, which are being shot down by my Castamir's Rangers and Crossbow Corsairs. Now, my Crossbow Corsairs actually had been targeting, as well as the Castamir's Rangers, had been targeting these Sindar Blade Masters, which was a completely healthy unit of 78, and as you can see, has already been brought down to 15. However, they did their job of taking out my general. You can see over here, though, the Sylvan Silver Spears are fighting against some Corsair Warriors, Belagir Halberds, and I believe some Narduturik. Castamir's Chosen are fighting here. The lines are starting to thin a little bit in this area, but not too bad for the Elves. This unit of Spears was trying to charge and flank around, but my Corsair Blackguards were able to stop them. And as they are out of javelins, it's really no issue that they were stopped from firing their javelins, because they are out of them. And as I said before, these guys are not to be trifled with in melee, so they will be able to cut down the Sylvan Spearmen relatively easily. Over here, though, you can see that the Orc Marauders that were over here are completely routing. So, NJP Wright is bringing over the rest of his infantry that was on this side. The Woodland Hammer Guard still have not lost a single casualty and are doing a number on these Forest Wardens. Oh, okay, you can see right there, I believe that is the Hear-E Bang, which are the only archer unit that is left to the Woodland Realms at this point, are just absolutely butchering these poor Black Orcs of the Mountain. They will rack up a lot of kills to them because they are, in fact, shock infantry, which means they have no shields. Even though they are on the back, I don't believe they do get a shield bonus at all. You can see the Elder Royal Guard are also in the melee, and yeah, they're going to absolutely do very, very good against the Orcs because they do have their AP axes in melee. You can see they're getting a nice charge around the back of this Black Orcs of the Mountain unit, and as well as these Woodland Blackguard. Now, I apologize if I'm not able to stop the camera and just kind of look at the fighting that much, but that's just because there is so much going on at the moment, because the Elves are trying hard to kind of get out of this situation, but if they're not careful, they will actually be completely surrounded relatively quickly. However, you can see right here that on this right flank, I am starting to lose, so I had to bring over another unit of Belagir Halberds, as well as focus my Castamir's Rangers on these Spearmen, and I believe there might be a Swordsman in here as well. Right here, though, this unit of Spearmen is beginning to be cut down, and over here, the Sylvan Silver Spears and Sylvan Axemen are starting to lose. That you can see that unit was wavering, and now they are shaken. Over here, though, they're still doing okay. Not too great, but not too bad. Okay, yeah, this is what I was talking about. You can see the Galadrim veteran riders have opted to shoot at my Crossbow Corsairs, and after just a few volleys, this unit is completely destroyed, pretty much. So I'm trying to get this unit around. What I'm trying to do is get them like right here, so that way they can't get shot at by the veteran riders. And at the same time, I will use my Castmir's Rangers to fire at the Eagle-Eyed and Veteran Riders. Over here, though, you can see some pretty good teamwork by Modslayer 2. He's sending over a unit of Sylvan Heavy Swordsmen to chase down these Woodland Realm Inquisitors who have been cycle charging these Cinderblade Masters. So definitely some good fighting going on over here. One unit of these Force Wardens has been dealt with, which is letting these Woodland Realm Blackguard and Blackguard of the Mountain actually be able to face the unit that has been flanking around them, which is definitely good for the Gundabad player. And you can see over here the 2 units of Force Wardens have been almost completely dealt with by the Hammer Guard and Orc Marauders. However, this unit of Orc Marauders has definitely taken casualties. As you can see, they're already down to 29. Yes, you can see this unit of Sylvan Heavy Swordsmen still trying to chase down the Woodland Realm Inquisitors, but they're actually getting a nice opportunity to flank around these units right here. Oh, you can see more archer fire from the Ihiri Bang. I bet that was probably one of the units that got the most kills for him, because they're just shooting straight into the flanks of those units right there. Ooh, that's absolutely horrendous for the Gundabad player. See, there are only 4 trolls left, but they are actually doing very, very well against these Hero and Spearmen, backed up by the Gundabad Guard. However, the Cinderblade Masters are now flanking around the Gundabad Guard. So if the... okay, yeah, there we go. So the what's left of this Black Orc Warband are trying to stop the flank from these Cinderblade Masters. However, these units are pretty much free to go wherever they want now, so they probably will go help out in that area. Although if I were them, I might... Oh yeah, he is actually flanking around these Elder Royal Guard, who even being flanked will still be able to do very excellent and cut down quite a few of these elite units. As you can see, the Hammer Guard are going to go help out the trolls over here, smash into the back of what's left of these Hero and Spearmen. Over here, though, you can still see that he has a completely healthy unit of Elder Palace Guard, as well as the Hiri Bang, who are now out of ammo. And you can see that these Cinderblade Masters from Modslayer 2 have been committed to melee. Actually, yeah, so the one was completely killed by archer fire. Another one he committed to this middle fight, or to the center of the main battle line. You can see that things are starting to look definitely better for me on this area, except for just this right flank, which is where some Sylvan Heavy Swordsmen and some Sylvan Heavy Spearmen are. But right here, though, these troops are just completely fine at the moment. My Courser Black Cards actually were stopped. I was going to try to use them to flank around, but that's okay. They will be able to do somewhat well against these Cinderblade Masters, but they still will take casualties quite badly from these Cinderblade Masters. So I am using this unit of Crossbow Corsairs to flank around and just shoot straight into the backs of those Cinderblade Masters. However, Modslayer 2 is realizing this, and so he's going to use this unit of Sylvan Heavy Swordsmen to effectively chase away my Crossbow Corsairs. You won't be able to actually catch them and fight and just slaughter them in melee, but they will be able to make me have to run them away. You see a lot of those Cinderblade Masters dropping from that one volley. Oh yes, there you go. So I've got to get my Crossbow Corsairs out of there. They're already shaken because they don't have the best morale also, as my Journal has been slain. Okay, there goes Gundabad's General. So the whole time it actually had been going definitely in favor of the Elves, but we actually, as you can see, have pulled quite ahead in terms of the percentage. You see I'm completely enveloping these Cinderblade Masters with my units right here. This left flank is completely won. I'm just going to go fight against these Cinderblade Masters, which is the general unit, as well as the Sylvan Heavy Swordsmen. And over here you can see that the Abrazanim and Narduzagar are cutting down the Sylvan Heavy Swordsmen and Sylvan Heavy Spearmen. But you can see these Narduzarik are already down to 12, as well as my halberds that were over here are completely destroyed, so I definitely took a lot of casualties on this side. So yeah, definitely. So it's definitely been a good battle so far. However, as you can see, the Elves are beginning to kind of lose this. No, I'm not going to say that straight away, but you know what I mean. We are winning by 11%. Okay, so there goes the Lothlorien General, and now pretty much the only area that I have left to defeat the Sylvan Elves are these Sylvan Heavy Swordsmen who are dropping quickly, and the Sylvan Spearmen over there. Then I will be able to help my ally, which will be a good thing, because as you can see, the Elder Palace Guard have been committed to battle, and they will be able to just absolutely chew through everything that Gundabad has here, even with the presence of the Troll, the Guardians of Cardoon, just even with all the presence of the Gundabad elites. The Elder Palace Guard will just be able to absolutely just destroy everything that Gundabad tries to throw at them. These Gundabad Guard are struggling definitely against these Cinderblade Masters and will continue and will eventually just be completely cut down, with the Cinderblade Masters taking relatively light casualties. Over here, though, the Witch Realm Blackguard are having a tough time of it against these 24 Elder Royal Guard. I believe most of that is because it seems like Tundra's Fox maybe lost a little bit of micro on them because they are just facing the wrong way. So they're just essentially just getting chopped in the back and side to death like crazy. Yeah, so it looks like he is trying to pull his Elder Royal Guard actually to flank around these Guardians of Carn-Dûm. Let's get a little close-up right here for now. Oh, yeah, the Witch Realm Hammer Guard are fighting against the Elder Palace Guard as well, but you can see, I believe this unit of Hammer Guard was actually relatively healthy when they begun fighting, but as you can see, they're already down to 10 left. Ooh, there goes another one. 2, actually. Ooh, yeah, they're just getting butchered, those poor Hammer Guard. Ooh, and there goes another one. Yeah, these Elder Palace Guard are still absolutely great. Oh, and there goes the last troll from Gundabad. Now we will go quickly. Yeah, so I was trying to help out my ally. I brought around these Corsairs to fire straight into the backs of these Elder Palace Guard. But, unfortunately for my side, the Cinderblade Masters had pretty much completely dealt with these Gundabad Guards, so he will charge his Sindar Blade Masters straight into my Crossbow Corsairs. Yeah, you can see definitely that the Gundabad players' forces are really starting to thin out. However, we are still in the lead by 10%. But yes, you can see that I have completely dealt with the Lothlorien player. There is pretty much nothing left of his army. However, you can see there were definitely lots of casualties on both sides. I have a very depleted army left. Actually, I thought it was pretty funny because one of my most healthy units left over was my trash unit of Corsairs. And of course the Abrazanim, I don't know what they're called. The ones with the 2 swords, the great-handed swords. Oh yes, okay, that was actually very, very key, that that play right there by NJP Wright. And so I'm sorry, I can't talk. NJP Wright. He charged his Cinderblade Masters into my Crossbow Corsairs, which actually broke them. But fortunately for me, my Casimir's Rangers were there in time to stop the Cinderblade Masters from completely cutting down my Crossbow Corsairs, who will actually, yeah, they are back already. And the Casimir's Rangers, actually, I actually underestimated them in melee, their melee capabilities. They actually are not bad in melee at all, for archers anyway. Yes, okay, you can see. Okay, yeah, look at this. So things have pretty much turned completely over on this side. Gundabad has been almost completely dealt with. They just have a few scattered Witch Realm Blackguard, only 20 left. And that's pretty much it. Gundabad has pretty much been wiped out besides that. Actually, he has three Gundabad Guard left, but that's it. Ooh, a great number of troops right here. I assume that was either from a cav charge or arrows, because that's just a lot of dead orcs with the 0 dead elves. But yeah, look at all this carnage. Oh my goodness, it's crazy. This was actually a very fun battle. I actually played this one quite some time ago, and I've just been kind of sitting on the replay for a while. Okay, yeah, you can see these Blackguard are being cut down just absolutely, just in terrible numbers. They're just getting cut down like crazy. But yeah, my Crossbow Corsairs have come back to the fight, and they're going to be firing at the Elder Palace Guard. However, he is again going to stop them from firing by charging forward these Elder Royal Guard. So to stop them, I am going to use my Abrazanim Narduzagar and Corsair Blackguards to just cut down the last of these Elder Royal Guard, and then give my Crossbow Corsairs another chance to fire at these Elder Palace Guard. Actually, that was my main focus. I don't know why, but I really, for some reason, wanted my crossbows to get a lot of kills, even though they really didn't. So, rather than actually helping out my ally right away, I rather just opted for wanting to get my crossbows more kills. So that was quite selfish of me. You see, my Corsair Blackguards were caught in melee against these Elder Palace Guard, who will absolutely butcher my Corsair Blackguards. Especially because my Corsair Blackguards have been fighting for quite some time now, so I believe all of their hit points had been taken off by this time, just because of how much they've been fighting. Oh, you can see they were at just like 31 just a couple seconds ago. They're already down to 15. However, you can see that I have brought forward quite a few more units of what was left of my army, and that includes just Corsairs, Corsair Warriors, A couple Belliger Halberds, some Casimir's Chosen, and that's pretty much it. You can't see over here though, my Narduzagar, Casimir's Rangers, and all the units that were over there have dealt with the Elder Royal Guard and with the Forest Wardens that were stopping my crossbow Corsairs from firing. And you can see that my crossbow Corsairs are now marching around this way, and will begin to fire again into the backs of these Outer Palace Guard. However, you can see that these two Belgier Halberds have decided they're done fighting. They've killed enough elves. They just want to watch. They don't want to possibly die right at the end of this battle. And apparently the same goes for this one Aberzen Nardutarek. You're just going to stand here with this nice shield. I actually really like that shield. Yeah, Umbar is a faction that I actually have not played that often at all, to be honest with you. But I actually like, I really do like how their playstyle. They are very infantry focused, to be sure. I definitely believe they should be getting some more cavalry units. I'm pretty sure that's what's going to be happening soon in the next patch anyway. Because, of course, their only unit is the Warlords of Umbar and then the Merchant Cavalry. Yeah, you can see my... Yep, there they go. My crossbow Corsairs are standing amongst all the dead Orcs and Elves and firing straight into the sides of these Elder Palace Guard. Now, you may be wondering why I'm not pushing around just to completely surround these Elder Palace Guard, but the only reason I'm not is because if they were completely surrounded, then that would make my crossbow Corsairs unable to fire at them. Yeah, I don't know why. Like I said, I actually played this quite some time ago, this actual battle. So I don't know why I really wanted my crossbow Corsairs to get kills, but I did. I don't know why. So yeah, but the Elves definitely really brought it back. That's why I actually commentated over this battle, even though I had played it so long ago, was because this battle was going back and forth for so long. I actually wish I had looked at the percentages earlier in the battle, because early in the battle it was definitely the Elves who had the advantage. I believe we were getting, the percentage was like by 10-15 at least percent in favor of the Elves, and then you could see that towards the middle, later end of the battle, it was definitely in our favor by 10%, but now the Elves have brought it all the way back to within 7%. So it was definitely a very, very fun battle to play. Okay, yeah, you can see more arrows or bolts being fired into the backs of those Elder Palace Guard. We are down to 12, but still fighting strong. Ooh, another volley, taking it down to more of this Palace Guard. The Palace Guard are now down to 8. So I think we'll go ahead and speed up this last stand of the Elder Palace Guard. Ooh, he just destroyed that man. Okay, yep, there goes the Woodland Realms General. I believe he was killed by a Corsair. Wow, what a shame. Yep, okay, so that's it for this battle replay. It was definitely a very fun one to play. Big shout out and thank you to all the players involved. Tundra's Fox, who was my ally, and I don't know why I see G, and JP Wright, who was the Woodland Realms, and Moslayer 2, who was a Lothlorien. Most kills goes to NJP Wright with 2,614 kills. Those Orcs really took a beating from his forces. Moslayer 2 getting 1,560 kills, Tundra's Fox getting 1,336, and I got 1,324. So we'll take a quick look at the exact casualties inflicted for my units. Corsair Blackguards did the best with 239 kills, and not far behind kind of far behind were the Casimir's Rangers and Aberzen and Narduzagar. My Halberds did okay. My Corsair Warriors, not really the greatest, but Corsairs actually did better than the Corsair Warriors. But yeah, that pretty much concludes this battle replay. So I hope you guys enjoyed watching it. Please comment, like, and subscribe if you did. If you have any constructive criticism, go ahead and put it down in the comments below. I'm always looking for that. And farewell wherever you fare, till your eyes receive you at your journey's end.